Okay, it is Thursday, March 21st, approximately 9:32 a.m. We're at Company A interview room. I'm with Special Agent Terry Schmidtke and also with Mr. Stephen Cook, who's a lawyer who's representing Matthew Sprinkles. So we're going to get this started. If you would, I already know your name is Matthew Sprinkles.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me your date of birth? What's a good address for you?
425 West Capitol Avenue, Suite 775. That's in Little Rock.
How much education have you had?
I have a associate's degree, and several years after that, just never finished.
What is your occupation and employer?
I am a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
Okay, how long have you been doing that?
I've been a special agent since 2019, and prior to that I was a task force officer with ATF through my police department in Missouri.
How long were you with Missouri?
I started in 2006 as a police officer.
Okay. If you can, Mr. Sprinkles, try not to interrupt you, but take me back to Tuesday, the 19th. What transpired? If you can, tell me who was with you, where were y'all going, what was the nature of the call, and then what you observed, what you did. I'm going to try not to interrupt you, but just go right ahead.
Okay. Well, first thing I did that morning, I woke up, got ready. I went to our briefing location, which was the Walmart there on Cantrell. Me and the other agents and TFOs, we briefed there. I remember our team leader was Tim Bowles. He gave us our assignments for our entry into the residence at 4 Durant's, I believe it was Court. It's leaving me at the moment. Court Drive. I know there's both in that neighborhood, Drive and then on to Court, I believe. So he gave us our assignments for the entry. I was assigned to be the number 2 man in the door. So we did our assignments there with the whole team. We waited till 6 o'clock approached. Once it was near 6 o'clock, we got into our vehicles and we drove towards 4 Durant's Court to execute a search warrant that we had signed the previous week. Troy Dillard was the case agent. So we got in our vehicles, we moved that direction, we slowed down, and we stopped in a parking lot to make sure that we were at 6 o'clock or after. We slowed down, we stopped, so once it hit 6 o'clock, we moved into the neighborhood. We parked our vehicles, we exited our vehicles, we approached the door. We stacked up in our entry team stack or line of people. I was the knock and announce person as well. Once we were stacked up, our team leader gave us the signal to initiate the search warrant, which was to, knock and announce and give us some time for the homeowner to come to the door. So he gave the initiate tone. So our Little Rock counterparts who were there had pulled up directly in front of the house, so we make sure it was visible out the windows or whatever. They hit their siren, hit their lights, chirped the siren a few times, and as soon as I heard the chirps, I started knocking. I knocked. I can't tell you exactly how many times I knocked, but I knocked and announced multiple times, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't remember exactly how many. My hand still hurts from knocking on the window, the glass window, because the glass doors looked like glass French doors. They were locked. Couldn't get it open to knock on the wood door on the inside, so I knocked extra hard, so we could try to get the homeowner there. After there was no response, after 30 seconds, a minute, however long it was, I don't remember exactly. We were given the signal by the team leader to make entry into the house. The person with the Halligan, I don't recall who it was. I think they gave the Halligan to Tyler Cowart. That's what I remember. Gave it to Tyler. He picked the door. The door came out as the French door does in the middle, so I grabbed it and pulled the glass doors open. And then we held the glass doors open, me and whoever was on the other side. I don't know who that was. Then I know Gibbons is our RAM guy, Mike Gibbons. He came up, he hit the door one time. The door swung open. I paused for a moment for the door to open, waiting for, as I said, I was number 2 man, waiting for our number 1 man to come up who had a shield. That never happened. I don't know where that was. The shield, I think it got kind of shuffled over to the side with the French doors. I think we were unprepared for the French doors, and I think it got kind of shuffled to the side, but we didn't want to wait. So I was told to go ahead, enter. I turned slightly, when I went in the door, I turned slightly to the right as there was a light at the end of the room that I was in. So go in, there's a light to my immediate, wasn't right, it was, kind of right center of the door. So I saw that light, so that was my first threat. So I came in and I marked off on that with my rifle, and as I'm crossing the threshold, I see movement to my immediate left. So I kind of turned my head a little to the left and immediately saw who I knew to be Brian Malinowski from our previous case investigation. Saw him standing there with a gun pointed towards me. I immediately, my legs went down. I went to kind of displace myself straight ahead, and at that time I heard a gunshot, and I somewhat army rolled, and I could hear other gunshots and I wouldn't say shrapnel, but sheetrock, wood, something. It was going through that towards me. So I find a little bit of cover behind a center of the room wall. I heard 3 or 4 pistol rounds that I could tell audibly it was pistol rounds as opposed to rifle rounds. And then I heard what I believed to be a rifle round, and then nothing. Then it was quiet. Then everybody else was in the room. So I know directly behind me, when I came in, was Tyler Cowart. When we were told to initiate, he kind of gave me the bump or squeeze, whatever you want to call it, to know that he was up with me for us to go in. So I know he was directly behind me. When I went in, I did my thing. I avoided gunshots. I took some cover. He came in behind me, and that's the last of the entry that I was able to see because I was focused on where the shots were coming from. I heard someone say the suspect was down, so I kind of moved up more towards the wall so we could finish clearing the house. At that point, I took, since there was it was kind of a three-way entry into the house. So there was a hall to the left and a hall to the right, and a room straight ahead of me. So I covered off on that light that I initially saw when I came in as other agents went the other direction. So I didn't know how the house was really laid out. I don't know if they came around that corner, so I didn't want anyone coming from that room towards the guys that were clearing. So I covered off on that way. They cleared the other rooms. When they were finished, I went the other way. I jumped on a team and went to the other way near Mr. Malinowski's body, his person. I went that way. We cleared those rooms. I saw the gun laying there next to him, the same gun that I saw pointed at me. It was a silver 1911 style pistol with black grips. I searched the room directly. The way he was laying, it would have been his right hand. There was a room with a light on in there. I went to that room, and I cleared that room with another agent. I believe it was Special Agent Bass, if I remember correctly, which I believe that's who it was. And then the house was called clear. I left the residence. I went to get a medical kit out of the vehicle. I brought it back in, and then agents that were there with him, Mr. Malinowski, did whatever they did, and I was kind of pulled out at that point. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I remember.
I might jar your memory a little bit if I ask some follow-up questions and stuff.
Sure.
So, first off, have you ever been involved in an officer-involved shooting before?
Not personally, no.
Okay. Have you ever discharged your firearm in the line of duty?
Canine. Of a dog. Yeah.
A dog?
Yes.
Where was that here or was
No, that
on
was
Kansas City?
in Missouri, yeah.
Missouri. Okay. So you've never been involved in a officer-involved shooting besides the canine?
Somewhat adjacent. I arrived as a shooting had happened, and I was kind of involved in the investigation, but I was more adjacent than I was necessarily involved in the shooting.
So, how many of these dynamic, you don't have to give me an exact number,
Right.
but how many times have you done search warrants with ATF involving the houses and dynamic and knock and talks, whatever?
I'd say I probably have done
Ballpark.
50 to 100 maybe over my time as a TFO and an agent.
And nothing's ever happened before?
No, and then prior to that I was in the drug unit. I probably did hundreds of search warrants, exactly like this one.
So, let me ask a question. What were y'all there for?
This investigation was...
Just tell me what the warrant.
Search warrant?
Search warrant was. What was it? Was it arrest warrant or search warrant?
It was a search warrant.
No arrest warrant?
No arrest warrant.
Okay, so it was a search warrant for what?
Firearms, electronic devices, documentation of firearms trafficking,
Okay.
things of that nature.
Okay. And Mr. Malinowski was the suspect or the center of this investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And number 4, Durant's. So, I'm going to try to backtrack a little bit. After y'all initiated about 6 o'clock, the search warrant, y'all stacked up. You was number 2 in line.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, whoever was with the Halligan pry bars, whoever, was he the first initial guy, or he's not counted first in the stack?
So in the stack, he's kind of in the middle, the first
Okay.
guy, because I'm as number 2, I'll be the knock and announce person. So
Okay.
I'm actually at the door first. So
Dang.
he's kind of just
Yeah,
he's
okay.
in the middle with the shield to keep us.
So you really wasn't supposed to be the first entry?
I wasn't supposed to be the first entry,
Okay.
but
And
this
I know stuff changes.
yeah this entryway is very, very narrow,
So-
and when it came to that point, I don't know. I was forward looking. I don't know what was going on behind me.
That's fine. So you did the knock and talk, or knock on the door, and you said you knocked 3, 4, 5 times on the glass doors, 30 seconds to a minute,
Yeah.
with no response to your
Yes.
recollection.
Yes.
And then that's when they came and pried open, whoever came and pried open the door.
Tyler.
And then Michael Gibbons came with the ram.
Yes.
And he rammed the door, and
Yes.
you ended up being the first one in.
Yes.
So you was first one in. I'm just trying to get it. So as you made entry, you saw a light. So you went toward, or you aimed your weapon towards the light. Didn't hear, see. Was there any verbal command? Hang on, I'll get to that. So you saw a light, and then you saw a movement out of your left eye, and then you turned, and you were trying to position your body towards the threat. Correct?
Yes.
Am I getting it right?
Yes.
And you identified him as Malinowski,
Yes.
and he was pointing a gun in y'all's direction. Correct?
At me, I was the only one in the house at that point.
Okay, and then was Cowart right behind you, evidently?
Yes.
To your recollection. So he moved up with you inside the house, correct?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
And then you kind of took cover, and then
Yes.
shots fired, correct? I'm asking because I don't know.
Okay, so it seems like there's a lot of room here. There's not a lot of room here. So
Correct.
so knock and announce, doors breached. As soon as I cross the threshold of the house, so I can see this light from outside the house where I'm going. So I make my decision while I was still outside that that's my main threat right now.
Okay.
So it's my first visual cue of what's in the house. So I see that. So I go there. And as soon as I cross the threshold, is when my attention changes. I see that movement as soon as I'm in, and the shot started almost immediately after my entry. I didn't have a chance to do anything else, so my whole body just dives behind. I dove behind this. I wasn't trying to find cover. I just dove out of the way because the shot started instantaneously.
So my question to you on that, did you know who shot first?
At that time,
You could tell the difference between a rifle and a handgun. Do you know?
I was the only one in the house when the shot started.
Okay.
Besides him, that I knew of.
Okay.
So it had to be him and
Who's him?
Mr. Malinowski.
Okay.
I was the only one in the building when the shots began, and they were following me. I could hear the wall being struck, the one I was hiding behind being struck, and things flying off the wall.
Can you recall how many shots there were that he fired before ATF?
I remember 3, 4, or 5. I don't know a number. I mean, there was multiple. It was pop, but it was deliberate. It wasn't rapid, like pop, 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 pop. It was pop, 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 and then there was clearly not the same gun fired. So I heard pistol, 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 and then what I know from my experience, rifle. And I don't know how many rifle rounds. I just heard the one, and I didn't hear anything else after that.
How was the lighting inside the house? Was it? I understand you had this one light in front of you, but down the hallway.
So
for where the threat was coming.
So down the hall is just ambient light from a room. There was no lights on in the entryway of the room, so it was dark.
But it's enough that you could see.
There was ambient light that I could see. I could see what was going on, and then to my left, when I came in to my left, where Mr. Malinowski was at, there's a light on behind him as well. So he was backlit. I could see, pretty well that direction from behind him, but it was just ambient light.
Right. So how far? So you never discharged your weapon, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, it was just one ATF agent from your recollection. Coward.
As far as I know,
but you
yes.
didn't shoot.
I did not shoot.
So, do you know how far you got? So was he kind of right near? I know you said you kind of dove, but he was within a 6, 8 foot. I'm talking about Coward. He was in a 6 to 8 foot radius probably from you, or was?
Well, when we started, he was touching me.
Yeah.
We were touching. I go in the door. We're still touching, but as I hit that threshold, and I see what I see, and I don't have time to turn. My only option is to go, to move fast. So I did that, and we would have been 3 or 4 feet apart.
Okay.
This entryway wasn't right.
How far do you think Mr. Malinowski was away from?
When I first entered the room, when I first crossed the threshold, I would say 8 to 10 feet to my left.
Okay. Okay.
Just my estimate. I can't say for certain. It was very quick, and that's what I.
Do you ever remember a female being there?
After our initial entry in the clear, I do remember a woman coming from that in the same end of the house and walking. She's wearing a blue shirt and black pants, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't.
What was her demeanor? What was she?
She was crying.
So this was after the shots, after Malinowski is down.
Yes.
And y'all were going to that one bedroom that you said you kind of.
You're going to clear that side of the house.
Did she come out of the back bedroom?
She came out of that side of the house. Yes.
And then what did she do?
I believe she was taken by agents out of the house to a police car, as we normally do. I don't know specifically.
Okay. So there was another question I had. The lighting. So you went to clear that, and then female came out. She was escorted out by other females or by other people, agents. And then did you clear the master bedroom where she came out? Do you recall?
I don't know what room she came out of. I was still when she came out. I was still behind cover.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
When
okay.
she came out, I don't know where she came from. She just appeared in that same hallway,
Okay.
and the only place that I recall that she could have come from was down the hallway. I don't know where she came from. I just know she appeared there between me and Mr. Malinowski.
So, there was a couple more questions. Mr. Cook, I had a couple more questions, but may end up coming back later, but not at this time. Is there anything else, Mr. Sprinkles, you want to add? Anything else you want to say? Maybe something I didn't ask you that you want to talk about? Or do y'all have to do any kind of incident report, any kind of written reports? Or y'all don't have body cams?
No, sir.
All right. Do y'all have to do any kind of incident report, any kind of IA active shooting?
That I think that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
As far as I know, but I don't believe so.
Okay. And that's pretty much all I got. Mr. Cook, you got anything that you want to add?
No, sir. I think you covered it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there's not any more questions or anything else, we're going to end this at 9:54.